Don't gather anywhere.
But first, the great class of 44 share some epic reunions. At our 5th reunion, we had 3 live elephants, here saluting President Dodge in the stands. At our 10th reunion, we had lederhosen imported from Bavaria. And at our 20th reunion, we had the real Glenn Miller Band, and they had a big dance for us at the gym. At our 25th reunion, these 4 men had never missed a reunion. At our 40th reunion, 2 of the same elephants came back again. At our 50th reunion, we had a large committee in order to have a record turnout. And at our 55th reunion, OBS Houston had an orange and black 44 umbrella designed for us. And now, the historic 65th Greatest Generation reunion with a record turnout of 340. And it all started Thursday evening, May 28, 2009.
We are honored tonight by a visit from our distinguished President, Shirley Tilghman. When I say distinguished, it's not just a loosely applied term. It's seriously applied to this circumstance because our President has brought much recognition to this college and to this university since becoming its 19th president 8 years ago. We've seen major initiatives locally, such as expansion of the residential college system, creation of a neuroscience institute, and national leadership in higher education and the sciences. We're proud that she has adopted us. Before she speaks, however, we have a gift for her, and I'm going to ask Herb Hobler to present it.
I must share with you that I first met Shirley when she was in sweat clothes. I walked with my dog every single morning without fail for years and years and years. And she walked with her dog from a different part of town. And we met in a park one day, and I introduced myself to her, and so we've become good friends. And you're always kind and say hi, Herb, to me, but you must say that to another 2,000 people.
They all think they're named Herb now.
Well, you're going to have to carry Herb for the rest of the weekend because this name tag has your name on top, Shirley Tilghman, and it says Shirley Tilghman on the dog tag. And you got my picture with it, too.
Thank you. Thank you. How's that look? Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the best old place of all. It is really wonderful to have so many of you coming back to celebrate your 65th reunion. That's a remarkable achievement, and particularly it seems to me to be an achievement for a class who, of course, did not have the normal experience of 4 consecutive years at Princeton the way the classes do now. But in fact, you were members of the greatest generation. You were, in fact, out in the world, Princeton in the nation's service, and because of the important role that the United States played in World War II in the service of all nations. So I'm really here to congratulate you and to acknowledge what you have done, not just in those years, but what you did once you did graduate from Princeton and went out into the world, enhance the university's reputation by how you lived your lives and what you chose to do with your lives. It's really an honor to be with you here this evening. I also have to say, as the daughter of someone who fought in World War II, a member of the Royal Canadian Army, who fought in Holland and in Belgium. I am really thrilled that you have chosen to invite back the descendants of your classmates who did not make it through World War II. And I think it's a lovely gesture, a truly wonderful thing that you have done. I'm actually, right now, reading a remarkable history of World War II, just by pure coincidence. It's been keeping me up all night because it is such an absolutely fascinating book. It's just been published by a historian from Cambridge, England. I wouldn't read one from Cambridge, Massachusetts, to say the least. And it does remind me of the enormous sacrifice that your generation made in order to make this world free for democracy. So I really wanted to come and simply say congratulations to all of you for your 65th reunion. I look forward to saluting you in the P-Raid.
In 1835, Alexis de Tocqueville wrote, "America is great because she is good, but if America ever ceases to be good, America will cease to be great." Today in America, we have a crisis of character that is threatening to destroy the goodness which de Tocqueville said was the very foundation of our greatness. Character without knowledge is weak and feeble, but knowledge without character is dangerous and a potential menace to society. The people involved in the tragedies of Columbine High School in September 11, the dishonest politicians, the irresponsible mortgage executives, the greedy corporate leaders, the Bernard Madoffs of the world, they all had plenty of knowledge, but what they lacked was good character. It will not bring us back to the goodness of de Tocqueville if we graduate young people from our schools who are brilliant but dishonest, who have great intellectual knowledge but don't really care about others, or who are highly creative thinkers but are irresponsible. It will bring us back to the goodness and greatness of de Tocqueville if we teach our young to do what is right, to tell the truth, to serve your neighbor, to work hard and learn as much as you can. When hardship comes, have courage. When you fail, try again, and never, ever give up. George Washington once said, to personally understand and maintain the American way of life, to honor it by his own exemplary conduct, and to pass it intact to future generations is the responsibility of every true American. Let each one of us decide how we're going to discharge that responsibility to these great United States of America.
The reticence of a warrior home from the battlefield, however, is common among all veterans. I do recall some years ago when my father-in-law John's brother, Winslow Ware, was visiting the family from Richmond. Winslow had served in North Africa, Sicily, and Italy from 1942 all the way to 1945. The three of us, John, Winslow, and I, got to talking one evening in John and Molly's living room in Scarsdale. And I don't recall exactly what the dynamics of the conversation were, but Winslow started to relate his experiences during the war, and right in the middle of his narrative, he choked up, broke into tears, and could not go on. The passage of some 45 years had not dimmed or softened his memories and had not healed his inner wounds. Now, although his war was very different from mine, I understood what he was going through. I could read his heart. Winslow is gone now, and so is his brother. No, there are no good wars, only necessary ones. But I like to think that those two men passed from this world knowing that they, like so many of you, helped to save it. Thank you.
My book. It's called The Myth of the Rational Market. What it is, it's a history of the rise and fall of this idea that financial markets are perfectly rational. And it's actually an idea that it sort of partly came out of World War II, because a lot of economists had spent time during World War II doing very useful and helpful things using their statistical knowledge to help. I mean, Milton Friedman spent much of the war at a place up at Columbia, this statistical research group at Columbia, helping figure out how to set, and I don't even know the terminology, but the correct scatter on artillery shells, how you maximize, how you balance your likelihood of hitting a target with the actual force of hitting the target. And they used all their statistics to do that. Came back from the war and immediately started taking all of these statistical ideas that they'd gotten a lot more confident in during the war to financial markets.
Just to see if I can identify those special guests we have this weekend who lost members of 44 in World War II. I know that 3 or 4 of the Killian family is here. Would they stand, please? There we go. The lady on the right is a sister of Boots. And the lady on the left is a niece who has been very interested in this moment. In Boots' undergraduate years. Yes. Came here and visited Princeton and had a nice time showing her around. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting us. This has been a wonderful experience.
Peter Conzi is not here.
I am here.
That's Peter Conzi?
That's me.
You look like your father, Pete Conzi.
Well, he might have been a little more south than I am.
And you're in the middle of Norm. Norm Conzi, who was my roommate, was killed on Luzon. And Pete has been very interested in coming and finding out everything he can. I have something to loan to you that my other roommate, Yates Conwell, gave to me. They had a correspondence during the war, and Yates saved all the letters, I'm sure. Thanks for being here. Is Foggy Fulton's. That is Dave Fulton from California. His uncle, we call Foggy.
Father.
What?
Father. My father was Foggy Fulton.
Well, my hearing's terrible. Father, oh my God. Two very special people here today that we've invited. And Dave is one of them, and I apologize, Dave. Dave, Foggy died, and this man was born some months later. Now, there's somebody else here, Buddy Ackerman. Buddy Ackerman's father was Buddy Ackerman, and he too was born after Buddy first died. So we have 2 sons who knew their fathers, and mostly vice versa. Buddy lives in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, not too far from here. And before the weekend is over, he's having 11 members of his family come. And I thank you for the first time today. I'm delighted. Good. Nice to meet you all.
suivante et vous allez là, celle qui a venu ce soir, c'est bon. Vous avez envie.
Hey, got an important.
Is in his holy temple. Let us all keep silence before him. Let us worship God.
It is a privilege to bring greetings to this group of people associated with each other through a bond forged by their faith and their affinity with this university.
The unique constellation of world events that propelled you, the class of '44, was indeed grave. The war to end all wars didn't. The economy was at its lowest when you were being raised as children. And then the United States was attacked on home soil, and you acted. The ones that we come here to honor today, both those who faced death at an early age as a result of their commitments, and those who were graced to live their lives fully, contributing over a longer period, both have faced the day of the Lord, as most surely all of us will. And what can we learn? What can we celebrate? What to help us, to encourage us, to inspire us of their lives and of ours that we share with them? It's awe-inspiring for me to look at the world that you faced at such a young and tender age. I can imagine you circling around the bonfires, the rallies the night of December 7th, 1941, the end of your first semester sophomore year. 18 and 19-year-olds in the prime of youth and hopefulness. You had a time of it trying to stay in contact with each other, as 89% of your 661 entering class went to serve. And now here are 40 or 50 of you representing the remaining 222 in your number, all of whom I'm sure would want to be here. Without time, Perhaps even with youthful zeal and no inclination to count the cost, your generation responded as best it could. You, the greatest generation, responded to the call to defend and to protect freedom, and you did so. 22 of you lost your lives in the definition of love.
This is the memorial roll call for the last 5 years. Thomas Elliott Allen, St. Clair Kelly Archer, William Dana Archbold, Harry Gwynn Moore Austin, Charles Bagley III, Robert Grant Barkley, Carol Barton Jr., Vernon Baruch Jr., Christy Wilkes Bell, James Frederick Bell, Richard Joseph Bender, Philip Wharton Bergen,
Jonathan Klopp, Roman Joseph Custley, John Sargent Lathrop, Norton Blackstone Leo, Frank Hoover Longstreth, James Woolton Lotspeeth, John J. Pierpont Madeira, John Allen Mann, Benjamin Stillman Martin, John Tabor Martin, Alistair Hannah McKee, William Walter McManus,
Arthur Ledley Wheeler, Walter White, Peter Vanderwater Weesey, Walter Bolt Winship, Victor Woodstanley, Thomas Arthur Wolfe, Charles Klein Wolfe, Robert Caldwell Wood, and George Edward Zirk.
Paul Briscoe Cunningham. Paul entered the Navy in 1942 and was commissioned an ensign in the Naval Air Corps and sent to Jacksonville, Florida for additional training. In an accident during advanced training, Paul died on March 15, 1943, making him the first war casualty of the class. Next to give his life, Greville Cobbett Elliott Cumming. Grev enlisted in the British Armed Forces in Washington in July 1942 and was sent to England to receive his commission in the King's Royal Rifle Corps. He became a replacement in North Africa and then was sent to Italy. He volunteered for special combat at Anzio, where he was mortally wounded and died on February 27, 1944. William Gale Kester. Following his roommate Joe Walsh, Bill also went into the Army Air Corps in January 1943. While training as an aviation cadet, he suffered a brain tumor and died on March 13, 1944, at the Lawson General Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Ernest Robinson Ackerman. Buddy was a bombardier in the 15th Army Air Corps flying missions from Italy. He was awarded the Air Medal after 15 missions. During his 27th mission, his plane was shot down on April 3, 1944, over Budapest, Hungary. His son, Buddy Jr., was born 2 months after his death and is here today with family. Alexander Long James III. Known to his classmates as Sandy, he won his Army Air Corps Navigator's wings in 1943 and soon began bombing missions in the China-Burma-India theater. On April 5, 1944, his flight of B-24s with Sandy as lead navigator was on a low-level flight along the Burma-Thailand border when his plane was hit with machine gun fire. Posthumously, he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Air Medal, and the Purple Heart. A family member from California is here today. James Leonard Vauclain. Like so many other classmates, Jim entered the service in February 1943. He trained in infantry regiments in several domestic bases and was sent to Italy. He landed in the first assault at Anzio a notable battle of World War II in Europe. A staff sergeant, he became a platoon leader for 62 days before he was killed by enemy mortar fragments on May 23, 1944. Robert McCaslin. Bob left for the Army Air Corps in February 1943, and as a bombardier arrived in Italy in April 1944. He was on his 20th mission when his plane was hit over the Ploiești oil fields in Romania on June 6, 1944. The rest of his crew survived the bailout, but Bob's parachute failed to open. His decorations were the Air Medal and the Purple Heart. Relatives of Bob are with us today. Mark Hall. Known to his classmates as Spider, he joined the Marines, trained at Paris Island, became a pilot, and graduated with his wings in August 1943, tops in his class. After having won the Purple Heart and the Silver Star, he was involved in ground action on Guam, and a sniper killed him on July 25, 1944. Reginald Camille Dusac. Raised in Europe, Reggie was just 17 when he entered Princeton. He joined the Army, went overseas to England in February of 1944 as a private first class in the 12th Army OSS Group. He and a friend alone liberated 12 towns, and he was recommended for a Bronze Star. Later, a truck crashed into his Jeep, and he died from his injuries on August 26, 1944. Francois Louis Chapman. Born in France, Francois joined the fighting French armed forces in tank warfare. He then became a paratrooper and volunteered for a dangerous mission. While guiding a group of Maquis to safety, he was killed on September 20th, 1944, in the Vosges Mountains. Arthur Davis Fulton, Jr. Affectionately known as Foggy by his classmates, he joined the Navy and received his wings at Pensacola, Florida, to become a torpedo bomber pilot. 6 months after marrying Sarah King, he was on a flight east of Nantucket when, along with 5 other men, he died in a mid-air collision on October 4, 1944. 8 months later, his son Arthur Fulton III was born, and he is with us today after coming from California. John Crosby Butler, Jr. Jack became a Marine pilot with Fighter Squadron 225, flying in the South Pacific. He had received the Air Medal with 2 Gold Stars and the Purple Heart when he took off from the Marianas Base on his 41st mission. He died on November 12, 1944, when he was shot down over Japan-held Rhode Island. Charles John Killian. Classmates called him Boots, a likable, fun person. He joined the Air Corps, became a navigator, and was sent to New Guinea in November 1944 in the 13th Air Force. Boots was in combat for just a month before his plane was reported as missing in action over Luzon on January 10, 1945. Several relatives of Boots are here with us today. Paul Joseph Walsh. Joe got his pilot training at Princeton Airport and became an Air Corps pilot at Maxwell Field in Georgia in June of 1944. A month later, he was in England, where he flew P-47 missions with the 373rd Fighter Group. He saw a lot of action when, on February 2, 1945, over northwest Germany, his plane was hit by ground fire. No parachute was reported before his plane crashed about 20 miles from Bonn. Walter Hewson, known as Poon to his friends, he arrived in France in December 1944 with the 253rd Infantry Regiment of the 7th Army. By February 23rd, his unit had fought its way to the French-German border. He went on patrol, was captured and killed by the Germans on February 23, 1945. John Adrian Larkin, Jr. Johnny got his commission at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and was sent to Europe as a replacement. He fought with the 9th Army after fighting through France, Belgium, and Holland. While he was in command of a forward observer group, he was killed on April 10, 1945, by enemy machine gun fire. The family established a John Larkin Scholarship at Princeton, and today his niece is with us, along with a family member. Donald Henry Freeman. Don received his commission at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. He first went to England, then to France, with the 4th Infantry Division. He was wounded in the Battle of the Bulge and received the Purple Heart. 3 months later, at a forward position, a large-caliber enemy shell landed nearby. The concussion killed him April 12, 1945. On the same day, Joseph Anthony Donahue, Jr. Joe entered the Army in February 1943 and went to OCS in Fort Benning, Georgia, where he received his commission as a second lieutenant. He arrived in Europe during the Battle of the Bulge. He then joined an infantry division on line, and he was killed in Germany on April 12, 1945. Norman Godfrey Conzi. Norm went into the infantry, became an officer, and was shipped out to the Philippines to join the 126th Regiment of the 32nd Division. After 3 months of active combat as platoon leader, he was killed while on patrol on April 17, 1945. His nephew is here with us today. Douglas Wilson Demler, Jr. Doug received his commission as a Marine Second Lieutenant in July 1944. His first assignment was in Okinawa with the 1st Marine Division. In May 1945, Doug's platoon launched an attack as Doug, then mortally wounded, repeatedly exposed himself to withering fire that caused his death. For his daring and special leadership, he was awarded the Silver Star after his death. Thomas Arthur Chance Crimmins. Tom was raised in England and Ireland. He graduated from Princeton in May 1943 and joined the Marines. As a second lieutenant, he saw action at Okinawa with the 5th and then the 6th Marines. While directing artillery fire near Sugarloaf, he was killed May 13, 1945, just 3 days after his classmate Doug Demler died in the same battle. The last to die was Waldo Beatty Farnham, Jr. Bate flew P-51s with the 375th Fighter Squadron. For a year he participated in strafing missions over France and Germany, winning the Air Medal with 4 oak leaf clusters. Within days of coming home in early September 1945 after the war, he decided to take one more flight. It crashed on takeoff, and he died that day, September 17, 1945. With funding from his mother, the class of 1944 started an annual Bate Farnham Award for Achievement to honor classmates. The names of the 22 men who died in World War II are inscribed on a plaque on the 44 Memorial Bench. Family of 7 of these men visited the bench and then went into Nassau Hall to see these names etched on the wall among hundreds of other Princetonians who have lost their lives since the Revolutionary War.
alone. And so I take it back with a sigh. But maybe it's fun. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
Marseille. Come on. Sing.
Keep it going.
Well, it's great being here.
Yeah,
It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. Yeah.
A reunion for 44, a reunion with daughter Kim.
Why don't the two of you kiss her at the same time?
Huh?
Why don't the two kiss her?
Oh, kiss me both.
Kiss her. Kiss her. Come on. That's it.
Okay, that's enough.
I looked at it like great.
Scientists coming back to the form of back in 1967.
Abby, watch me. See that big tree over there? We're going there. Next to me, Abby, let's go this way. Around the back.
Here for their 67th reunion. Plenty of Jeeps. I notice we're still in the old brown shoe army, so. The previous attendance record for a 65th reunion is 120 people, including classmates and family. This year, the 65th reunion class of 1944 is here with 350 people, including a number of relatives of their classmates who were killed in World War II, who are carrying the pictures of their relatives and loved ones in the parade today. members and relatives of the great Princeton class of 1944. Harry McDonald is the president of the class of 1944. Clint Ivins and Ted Mather, the vice presidents of the class. Bob Wagner, the class secretary. Harold Matheson is the treasurer. The ever-popular class agent is Jim Affleck. And the totally inimitable reunion chair of the 65th reunion of the class of 1944 is Herb Hobler. Around the Cannon Song from the Nassoons, already 20 minutes into their 4.5-hour stint here at the P-Raid. They're undergrads, they can take it. Now, 44 has done a number of interesting things over the years. Locomotive from the Nassoons. This is an interesting group. At their 5th reunion and then again at their 40th, they brought some elephants along. I mean, the Jeeps are more difficult in one sense, but, I mean, the repair parts, but boy, the elephants have their own interesting angles. And of course, at their 10th reunion in 1954, they introduced class lederhosen as an interesting variant on tradition, and indeed, you'll see some of the classmates dressed in their lederhosen today. 7 of the trucks you see today actually were used in World War II. Some of them were overseas and were actually shipped back. One of the long-standing parts of the P-Raid is Bart Hobel and his wonderful calliope will pick up what they're playing here. You see the various branches of service in which the class of 44 participated.
The end of the parade.
We're doing service themes this year. Way to go. Anchors away. Things have changed slightly since 1940 when this class was admitted. They actually had a freshman polo team.
Very